Hello guys and welcome to another video. This is Chloe and I am creating a earthy goth A-frame. It's technically not an A-frame because the A on the top of the house ends up being a little bit more curved, you know? So what am I supposed to say? I mean, it's not quite a U-frame. I don't think that's a term, but it's fine. You'll see what I mean. So this house ends up being $72,000. It's one bedroom, but can fit two people. Like has a king size bed that two Sims can reach both sides of it, and then two bathrooms, one downstairs and one upstairs. I did try and create a third floor. That didn't work. I cut that out because the roofing situation would have been way more difficult, you know. It just wasn't working out because then the A would have had to been really steep, you know, and then it just wouldn't have looked that great, you know. So I would say this is gothy because there's a lot of blacks and darkness and there's a lot of plants everywhere. Again, I used mostly stuff from Debug because I want to save on money. I want this house to be like somewhat affordable for most people, you know. And so I scrolled through Debug and I picked out a bunch of plants. I think I cut out some of the landscaping because it takes a long time to go through the Debug catalog and to pick every single item out that I want. But I ended up not going with as many flowers, you know, because it's kind of gothy. And also for lot traits I picked a cat hangout. There's room for a cat in this place. There's a litter box, one of those nice ones that gets rid of the aftermath, and then there's a huge cat tree in one corner, and there's toys. There's a little bed. I made it a cat hangout haunted because it just seems like it would be a haunted place. Not that it's necessarily very old looking. Like for the roofing, I end up going with more of like a metal, which would be used more in like modern builds. But I end up going with two porches, a front and a back. It's pretty symmetrical except for the little side bump out that ends up having a little terrace, which honestly is my favorite part of the builds. I mean, I wish I had a place that had like a little terrace. I actually almost moved to a place once that had a little deck area, which would have been the best, you know. So I put a lot of plants in this build, of course, and there is a large garden in the back. So I imagine the person living here, or two people living here, would be really into gardening. And also with the debug items, I actually use quite a lot of kind of dead looking grass. I mean, to me, it looks dead, but it's just more realistic, in my opinion, because like, I don't know who has perfectly green grass everywhere, and I feel like the person living here loves gardening, but they love gardening more exotic things, not just keeping up their lawn in their front yard, you know. It's not a traditional type of house, and it's not a traditional type of person. So the whole upstairs is just one bedroom. So there's a shower downstairs and upstairs, because personally, when I'm playing the game, I hate having to go upstairs to go to the shower whenever I need to. I used a lot of earthy tones in this build too, because I feel like there's a lot of goth-like people that also like the earth, you know? That's kind of like me as a person. I don't know, I'm just so into this stuff. I love the stone around here. Again, with the little deck areas, I used the little fencing thing to create an effect. You know what I mean. And I put pillars all over the house. Just my go-to favorite thing to do. Also on the top of the house, I did that little roofing technique to add another roof, like duplicate it and then make it a little smaller so it has a little bit of a detail on it. That's like my favorite thing about this house. Maybe, no, I'm probably gonna say that about a lot of things. So again, here I'm like taking a long time to find the right wallpaper. I end up going with a kind of a light white because I wanted this house to be goth-like, but I didn't want it to be like too unrealistic, you know? Like, this is a gothy house, but it's not ridiculous looking, you know? although I'm probably gonna do a goth-like house that's way more ridiculous looking than this at some point, but I just feel like this is just a little dark. More dark than usual, you know? The inside is very antique looking. There's a lot of paintings everywhere. Everything is really cluttered, of course, because why not, you know? So I don't have very many expansion packs. I have Get to Work, Cats and Dogs, Seasons, City Living, Dine Out, and then Laundry Day stuff pack. Oh, and of course the holiday stuff pack. So this build only uses those, so hopefully a lot of people, or some people, would be able to use this build, you know? It was always frustrating to me being someone who I haven't had all the packs yet, like, which is really frustrating, but it's more frustrating when I watch videos for builds that I'm like, oh, I can't even use this house, or I download it and then I try to fix it to make it seem like make it fit me more, and it still doesn't work. That's fine. So this little terrace area here, I end up fixing the little white part underneath by putting a little trim on it later. I also forgot some lights in this house and some curtains, and there's a little desk area right off the entryway. Of course, the computer didn't work right away. I playtested this build, everything works. I just had to fix the computer. Again, as always. I hate when that happens. It's like, I always want to clutter up the desk because I feel like that's how it always is with desks, you know? I don't know. I guess I would say I'm a little bit of a messy person, so... Or at least for, like, work stuff. You just have so much, you have to keep so much stuff in that area near your desk, so it's just always seems to be cluttered for me, you know? So I think this is where I skip out on all the landscaping because I had to go through debug and it took me forever to find all of the items. There's one item that I love so much, which is a flower pot holder, but it's long and it's kind of on the side of the house that doesn't have the bump out on it. So you'll see that soon, but that's one of my favorite items too that I actually didn't know existed. I don't know what pack it's from, but... And this fencing area also made me happy because everything seemed to work out symmetrically. When I do this like alternating fence pattern with bushes or hedges or whatever, it doesn't always seem to work out properly, but this time it actually did, and I was so happy about it. I love this house. Like, I would live here in an instant. I mean, I could create a lot of things in Sims and then be like, oh, I want to live here, but that's probably not gonna happen. Anyways, cat hangout, haunted, and what was the third one that I added for the lot traits? I don't know, I forgot right now. Anyways, the rest of this build is just me cluttering up everything, and I thought it turned out so cute. I love like rustic old places. I also really want to do a treehouse build. Ugh, I would die for that. I think I really need the next thing that I'm gonna buy, pack I'm gonna buy is Roma Magic, I think. I don't want to say that for sure. I definitely shouldn't be spending money all that often. I could definitely create a treehouse without that pack. I'm not saying that I need it. Although I kind of do need it. You know, sometimes you just need to buy yourself things. And I did... I mean, I'm sure all of you bought yourself all of Sims 4 stuff, so I think I'm gonna do it too. Why not? One of the first things that I get for CC, for Build CC, is definitely rugs. I need more variety and more swatches of rugs. I hate when there's not enough rugs. And plants. That's something else that for CC that I got a lot of, that I needed. I always need more of, you know? For some reason, so I just finished up a base game build, and it was so hard to sift through everything just to get purposely, or try to only get base game, do you know what I mean? Especially because my heart always led to the more new items from the other packs that I bought, you know? So it took me so long to do that large family home, but now I'm onto this, and I like smaller builds because a lot of times I like playing with 2 or 3 Sims. Like, any more than 4 is definitely a lot for me. oh my god, I really want Discover University, and so then I could have roommates. That was really unexpected when we got that, I think. I didn't understand that. I was a big Sims 2 and Sims 3 fan. I didn't buy Sims 4 right away. That's why I don't have all the packs yet. But I was the largest fan, and I would actually watch people here on YouTube play Sims 4 for way too long before I actually bought it. I was in school, and I just didn't have time, and I knew if I bought it, I would spend every waking moment of my times playing that. But now I'm doing that now, so why not? So here I'm just cluttering up the little desk area, which I actually love, and yes, it is a little public that people will be walking through when you're doing work, but I think sometimes you just can't afford and you don't get to have a separate office. You know, sometimes just life doesn't work out that way, you know? And sometimes building doesn't work out that way. One of my most frustrating things is when, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but with staircases, they don't always work if you put them in a certain configuration, or if you need like 2 blocks in front of them to be open for them to work. I do not like that because I like them to be cluttered a lot. So I put this statue down a couple seconds ago, and it's one of the debug items, and then as soon as I put it down, it turned into a crazy looking clown, and it's kind of scary. I mean, I think clowns are scary, okay? I mean, this isn't a good conversation to talk about, but it just seemed weird to me that it turns into a clown as soon as you put it down. I don't know why those debug items do that. I mean, I think they're under the crafting skill, and I think if you do it under a certain mood, it's like the sculptures that you create in that mood, and I think it was a sad mood thing, so there's probably multiple options that it creates, just like paintings. When you paint something in a certain mood and it makes it, there's a couple different varieties of that moodlet. So when I cluttered up the desk earlier, the books were too close to the computer and you couldn't actually use it. I know I already mentioned this, but you'll get an idea to how far away they actually need to be for you to use them. So I went back and put them back even farther than I did, which was frustrating because they seemed far enough, but they weren't quite there. So they were going into the wall a little bit, like the tiniest bit when I was done, but it was worth it. So I put a washer and dryer in this build, but I realized that I forgot a litter box. So I added one of those nice automatic ones in that bathroom, so I moved things around. And yes, I forgot curtains. I put those in. I realized pretty much right after I finished. I think I was hurrying through this for some reason. I just was having a lot of fun doing whatever I was doing at the moment, not worrying about curtains. But I put them in. They were easy, and they go with the rest of the house. They were like black, old-looking ones, you know. Also, these floors are great. These wooden floors. I wish we had more wooden floors. I always wish that. Rugs, wooden floors, plants. Those are the things that I love. So I accidentally cut through some of this video because I thought I was recording, so the upstairs bedroom and part of the bathroom was already done by the time it gets to it, but I really love the way it turned out, and I hope you guys enjoy this video anyways. I'm gonna let you go now, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.